Hello and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and today I am sharing two books that I read that are connected to my name. Let's talk books. So I thought it would be fun to celebrate my birthday month this year by reading two books that are connected to my name. The first book, How to Fail at Flirting, is written by none other than Denise Williams. Denise Williams, obviously, was my choice as the author who shares my name, Denise. Next, I decided to read a book with my name in the title, and the book that I selected was Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew by Lisa McNair. Both books were quite the ride for me, very different books, and I'm excited to share the outcome of both of those reads with you right now. So I decided to dive into some romance with Denise Williams by reading How to Fail at Flirting. And Denise Williams is an author whom I've seen here and there on Goodreads and other places on social media, but I hadn't yet to pick up her book until my birthday month, and I am so glad that I picked this one up. So this book is following the journey of a professor, a young professor by the name Naya, like papaya, she often says in the book. I love that she's a math educator. She has a PhD in math and she is up for tenure and is super excited to just take her career to the next level. She is looking forward to cementing herself at this college, this university that she has really enjoyed working at, and she does not want anything to mess it up. Meanwhile, she decides to be spending some time at a bar. She runs into a man who was a stranger to her, and she was there for a very specific reason. Her friends told her, "Your life is boring, girl. You had a rough relationship with this man by the name of Davis," which is interesting because my dad and my brother are both Davis. Davis the first and Davis the second. Very strange little vibe there. But nonetheless, Davis was absolutely like the jerk of all jerks. This was a horrible relationship. This was a man that she was a colleague with at this university. Needless to say, he was abusive to her. He tried to really smear her name and her reputation, and it was a very traumatic experience for her. She is on the other side of that, and her friends are encouraging her to get out and about, do some things that are outside of her comfort zone, and she starts off by going to a bar. She runs into this man by the name of Jake, and they hit it off. They're both super nerdy, which I am discovering is a thing that I love to read about, super nerdy people getting together in these romance novels. And they have these funny, quirky jokes. They're quirky, and they both are just kind of embracing the quirkiness that they are bringing to the interactions. So things steam up, but there's a little bit of a problem. Jake's consulting firm is the firm that is hired by the university in which Naya works, and they are doing some deep evaluations to see what colleges and departments are working for the university and which ones are draining the university. That means that Naya's job could very well be at stake, and this could be a conflict of interest. Sparks fly and it gets serious, and then Davis comes in with his nonsense. She's got great friends that offer some wonderful side characters, and it was an interesting journey. The cover is very misleading because it looks really fun and light. This book is anything but light. There are some funny moments. It starts off really fun and airy, but those moments where Naya is really trying to really work through the trauma of being in an abusive relationship come to the forefront more and more as the story progresses. It has a wild climactic moment, a wild, interesting ending that I would say is fairly predictable, but really sweet nonetheless, and just felt satisfying to experience. So I am so happy that I read How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams. Next, we had a very different emotional reading experience by me reading Lisa McNair's book, Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. Denise McNair is one of the 4 young Black girls who were tragically and gruesomely taken away from us in September of 1963 at the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Alabama. This is one of the most gripping and deeply emotional events of the civil rights movement that I learned about. Of course, I wasn't living and breathing on this earth during the civil rights movement, but this is one that really shakes me to my core. I am a Black woman and at one point a young Black girl. I have 2 Black daughters, and this is just the unimaginable. And I thought to myself, how interesting for Lisa McNair, her Denise's younger sister, essentially, to be writing these letters and using writing as a means of connecting with the sister that she never had the chance to know. And so Denise was an only child for all of those 11 years that she was on this earth. Her parents really struggled to have children and thought that Denise would be the only child that they would have. About 3 to 4 years after the tragic death of Denise, they ended up giving birth to Lisa, and 4 years after that, giving birth to another daughter. Lisa shares these moments of wonderings, sharing some of her own lived experiences and writing to her sister with wonderings of how would you have experienced high school? What would you have done if you were in the same situation that I was in? Who would you have dated? What would you have grown up to do? And it's really one of those moments where you're reading something that seems so simple, but given the circumstances is quite profound. What I will say that I appreciated about Lisa is that she is really shedding light on these high-profile tragedies and how they impact generation upon generations of family members way after they are no longer the main news story on television, long after people have moved on and found another news story to cover. And that was something that really stuck with me. I am so glad that I read this book. I will say, however, I wish that Lisa had offered a little bit more background on her sister. I know that Lisa wasn't around and living whenever her sister Denise was. However, she obviously had her parents and other people who knew Denise, other relatives and family friends and church members who could have shared more about Denise, the young girl. If I had gotten more of that information, I think it would have helped me wonder and kind of complete some of those thoughts, if you will, that Lisa had of wondering what kind of woman Denise would have grown up to be. If I had known that she was a book lover or had known more things about who she was, it would have helped me have a fuller picture to paint as I was reading these letters. So that was the only thing that I wish had have been different about the reading experience. I do know that Spike Lee had directed a documentary about the 4 girls who were tragically murdered in the church bombing quite a while ago. So I definitely think that I will dive into that documentary at some point. I am very grateful that I did this experiment of reading books connected to my name because Dear Denise was a book that will stay with me for a very, very long time. Okay, folks, that is all in terms of reading books connected to my name. Have you ever tried this out? I thought it was quite the fun experience, a great way to figure out what I'm going to read and add to my TBR and get out of a mundane reading experience, maybe get out of a reading slump. I highly encourage you to check it out. And if you haven't already, go look on Goodreads, look in that TBR and let me know, what books have I inspired you to read that are connected to your name? And until next time, happy reading. Bye.